welcome back to Game 2 between SK Gaming and G2 Esports. G2 feeling good, BB feeling good. Look at that smile, he knows he's on camera. After a commanding Game 1, and for SK now, it's a do-or-die scenario. Win, take us to a Game 3, or be eliminated from the LEC Spring Split. Pressure certainly on as we get ready for the next draft.
Good news is, SK can choose blue side.
And they
blue
did.
side
And they did.
can give you more target bans, and you can first pick your OP. So they can deal with the cannon a lot easier.
True.
Which I think was obviously a huge problem. They can decide to ban that away if they want, or they can decide to drop a Jayce ban, maybe look to first pick it, or drop some kind of, I don't know, Zeri ban, I don't know, whatever it is on blue side, Rakan perhaps, and try to take an OP themselves.
Yeah, I wonder if the cannon is something they incorporate, because I feel like Irrelevant just played a lot of like the more tanky dudes up on the top side of the map. Has played the Gnar, but that would be something that if you get that in your hands, we were talking about like before the series, when we were watching the last one, like shocked to seeing it fall so late into the draft. So it's how dominant it has been globally. So G2 have already proven they can play that one, but something tells me it's just going to be an SK ban away on that front.
It's going to be a G2 happy game. I feel like G2 happy games often happen when they're 1-0 up and on red side, where they're like, yeah, we can flex that. Oh. And then they get to fifth pick and they're like...
I think the happy ship sailed last week.
I was promised no happy games today. I was promised full serious, full try hard, 2-0, and quickly done. So
Well,
we'll see if G2 can keep their word on that.
Exactly, and SK are now facing elimination. One game away from being knocked out of the Spring Split here in the LEC. So all cards on the table, if they've got anything prepped, if they've got anything in their back pocket. We already saw the Viego prio very high there for Markoon. We'll see if they change the plan, look for something like Vi. But we can see the bans coming through already. There's the Rakan from G2. Draven, Maokai taken away.
Yeah, keeping the same bans, even though they're sort of switching sides here. Because, of course, it was G2 that banned away the Vi. So options to leave that open if they want, but no surprises there. You got to get Kennen out of here.
Yeah, there's a Cannon target ban as expected. Now, G2, do they ban that Jayce? They banned it on blue side. Obviously, a lot more power on red side. You can flex it. Does SK first pick it to deny it from G2? There's the Zeri ban as well. So I think you're looking, yeah, Jayce insta-lock there for SK. They'll flex that into both roles, expecting it to likely go towards... I mean, the interesting thing about SK is it's mainly Sertuss that plays it. Irrelevant hasn't really played it once yet, but I don't think he's a stranger to playing something like this top.
Definitely not. And even if it does go into mid lane, like Caps has a lot of different answers he can have into the champion. We saw BrokenBlade on the Pantheon last week up on the top side, but I know from scouring Caps solo queue that it's definitely an option for him to play in mid. We've seen the more unique things like the Malphite in the mid lane too out of him, so we'll definitely have answers into this pick.
Yeah, Gragas will be the response to Jayce. No matter what, where it goes, they're going to put the Gragas into it, unless they put Gragas in support, some Yasuo shenanigans, God knows what. But anyway, that Gragas will probably go to Caps or BrokenBlade. And now normally you see things like the Aphelios or the Jinx being picked up with Zeri Draven being down. Xayah is also quite high prio. Vi is something you're looking at as well. But Yikes, Bel'Veth locked in. Gonna skip that jungle pool. Now does SK go full top side here? Give away the Jayce counter, the flex, or do they look to prioritize something like the Sejuani and pick up an AD carry?
I mean, I think part of this from G2 is sort of reading like probably the Jayce in mid, Gragas going to match it there, so want some AD in the jungle as well, makes some sense. But now, I mean, I feel like SK, what I want to see from them is like Markoon on something that can make plays in the early game. So I think Sejuani is absolutely a champion that can do that. When SK were successful back in winter versus G2, it was Markoon on the Elise playing heavy in the early game, looking to dive around that bottom lane. So now different look on the Sejuani, but still early game power to pair up and look for some ganks.
And when you're playing against a Bel'Veth, you really have to get something done. It is not early game pressure matching early game pressure. Bel'Veth, that scaling threat, we know Yike can make it work, just like he did with the Lilia, just like he's done on the past of the Bel'Veth. But SK, once again, drafting a composition that's going to scale a little bit better. Aphelios, a late game terror. Do G2 Esports want to match scaling with scaling and go for something like a Jinx here? Or do they want to go for something a little bit more conservative like a Xayah? Instead, it could be the Varus.
Oh, I hate Varus so much. But it looks like they're going to go for it. I mean, it has good setup. Can play for poke, can play for on-hit. I think just picking up AD here makes sense, because what will happen is if you don't, then they'll ban away something like the Varus and the Jinx, and then you have to go for something like the Xayah, which isn't the end of the world. So I wouldn't be surprised if G2 spice things up a bit here. It's going to be Nilah.
Jeez. Okay, Hansama said he had something spicy. I did not believe him because he always says that to me, but I was wrong. Here comes the Nilah.
G2 are cooking, I told you. Happy little game on red side, you know. They're going to have some fun with it, it looks like. They need some kind of engaged support. I wonder if something like a Mumu now rises in priority, something that can go in with the Nilah. Look for those dives.
Like Gragas? No, I'm sorry.
Hey, look, I know Mickey's been an enthusiast, but maybe not this game. Wow, that just changes everything completely here. Seeing a Nautilus ban, maybe a Thresh is another option to remove from the pool.
I also wonder if Renata is something that G2 are looking at with that Nautilus ban. If they're taking away hook champions, Thresh could be another one just to make sure the Aphelios feels a little less safe in these team fights. SK, then you're looking at the Gragas flex. You are also probably going to target supports see what they can dissect from that ban. Actually, no, they're going to ban Lissandra, so I wonder what they're trying to blind pick here. Maybe they're just trying to cover off the Jayce mid, and they want to stop the amount of setup that G2 could have to set up the Bel'Veth. I think you're looking at things like Ahri then, LeBlanc as well, but I think Gragas can do the job pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like G2 can keep the flex alive here and potentially like pick something else that like is easily swappable between top and mid. That's like one of the staples from them. So even though G2 are playing red side, a lot of the time they'll still find matchups they like in both solo lanes, which is usually the weakness on red. You get one hard counter pick, but you have to give something up. G2 often find ways around it.
Yeah, G2 read it well. So what they're doing here, SK, is I think they're saying Jayce is going top. We're going to ban mids that counter the mid we want to pick to kill the Jayce flex, to stop you from being able to last pick a counter into it. And they wanted LeBlanc with the Lissandra ban. Now they're probably looking at things like the Ahri. So is that a ban for SK to deny that for G2 on 4, or is that something they want to pick up themselves? Sona taken away to stop obviously the scaling that Nilah can provide with the extra experience. Things like this can also work well in range matchups. You think of Nilah as this diver, can work well with range champions. Sona's one, Renata's one. We'll see what G2 opt into.
All right, Wild Thought is something like a Senna that was buffed on this patch. I know it was rearing its head in solo queue, but have not seen it manifest in pro quite yet. Instead, the Cassio now going to get locked in. Certainly a champion that we've seen a lot from in the last few weeks. Nuke, I think, giving us the most impressive performance thus far in groups, but waiting to see exactly what they want to respond here on the side of SK Gaming. Do they feel comfortable putting the Jayce into that matchup? Can be very risky.
Yeah.
As you queue in on Jayce, very easy to land the stun from Cassio.
Valuing counters pick support really highly here. Looks like the Veigar is going to be the pickup. Very meta-heavy champ, really good range into the Cassio. Makes sense, I think, but obviously now you do give away your support. Thresh would be the easy answer, but then I think you're looking at Blitzcrank from Mikyx. Could also blind something like the Lulu, but then maybe you're looking at the Thresh from G2 or Renata.
I mean, I really like the idea of the Thresh bringing it up, you know, sort of playing around the cage as well, get people into it. I think the cage is also really effective against champions like Bel'Veth, Gragas, sort of melee guys that want to be jumping on towards you. That offers you so much power, and the Renata does come through, like you mentioned.
So it's SK saying we're going to take away Renata.
Yeah.
We're not going to blind pick a support and allow you to counter pick with it. The Senna.
The Senna! What? Daniel Drakos? Who is this man?
Freest prediction of my life.
Daniel Drakos.
To be fair, Reckless told me it might show up, but that's beside the point. But I will take credit.
Senna picked up for Mikyx.
Who scales harder, Veigar or Senna, though?
Well, they have Cassio as well, and Bel'Veth, right? So
yeah, that's nasty.
I think my big concern here is it's so hard for them to dive on a target with the vast majority of their composition. The only real reliable long range they have is going to be the Senna. Renata's going to eat so many of these champions alive, or rather, she's going to ult them, and they're going to eat each other alive. That's going to be a huge problem in team fights.
I do have a slight concern for G2. Like, gap closing onto Veigar, Sejuani is hard. Renata ult is really good against their short range champs as well. I mean, obviously, Senna will be the longest range one, and Gragas committing 2. If G2 can pin a target down and get on top of it, the single target damage they have is incredible, right? And the follow-up they have is incredible. But the question is, can they pin that target down? Because Renata's going to buy a lot of time for the Aphelios. The Veigar is going to try to buy space. Let's see if they can get on top of the carries of SK and get some damage done. Caps and Yike and Enhance, they have so much damage that they can actually rush down Nash so quickly as well.
I think both sides actually have range to play with too, so they have to choose the exact right moments when they want to dive in. The rest of the time, a lot of ability to poke and fight tooth and nail.
She's on LEC. What do you want? There it is. Look, Mom. Here we are.
K-Corp fans in the crowd as well.
Yeah.
But this is SK's do or die game.
Do or die game against a wild composition from G2 Esports. Let's see how they fare as we get into game. Go up.
Now.
Here we are on Summoner's Rift, and if you've missed the draft, SK are doing a lot of things that you've seen before, a lot of things that are very powerful. Aphelios rearing his head not too much in the LEC, but you'll be used to it if you've seen anyone else. SK Chance coming out, and on the opposite side, G2, they're cooking again. You saw it last week. They botched it. They did not make it through the Iron Chef Challenge. This week, they're out here. They're challenging. Looking if they can take down the SK Gaming, a.k.a. Bobby Flay here, to become the next Iron Chefs.
Sorry, I'm looking at a row of Fnatic fans chanting, "Let's go SK," louder than all the G2 guys in the audience.
Well, they've got to support someone. And today it's SK.
All right. Here's the deal. Shout out to our stats team. Nilah, 1-3 in the LEC. Last pick 2022 summer by Unforgiven. And This is the first Senna in Spring as Mikyx starts to trade a bit more aggressively. A nice handshake, clean level 1. And that's going to make things pretty tough for G2's bottom lane. I don't think they were expecting to win on level 1, but losing that hard on that first trade is difficult.
Yeah, Hansama already had to, Mikyx already had to pop the potion down the bot side. Definitely not what you want to see. I do also have to shout, I think the rumblings, the SK chants reached Exakick. I saw a little nod of approval.
There it is, TSM. The great unifier in esports for chanting.
We're all friends here.
Except for G2 and SK, we're very much enemies. SK, can they bring us to a game 3? And the big thing for G2 is if this composition works, every team that has to play G2 from here on out is just like sighing deeply, you know? Like, when do you have to worry about the Nilah? When do you have to worry about the Senna? Level 2 now coming in, Formless Blade coming up on some, a bit of extra range here, but again, the level 2, the only reason that trade is remotely positive.
Oh, Yike's trying to look for something up top.
Flash forward, body slam, now gonna get the knockup, gets the reset on the dash in, dashes into Relevant, nice knockback to safety. They're gonna try to finish this one off, he's stabbing, but he can't quite finish.
Hans almost died as well. Look at the summoners in bot lane, everything's been blown other than Mikyx's flash. There was a massive all-in from SK. I think maybe DOS flash forwards with a handshake there, but G2, I think they got level 2 on the first wave without killing the last melee, so I think they caught SK off guard there with the trade. Markoon looking on Yike. W's gonna miss. You can see mid push coming through. Sertuss is trying to collapse. This could be
out. Knockup is there. Yike gets the reset, now flashing in. Yike now stunned up. Yike locked up. First blood coming in. Veigar gonna get a little bit extra AP on the back of that one. BrokenBlade taken down. It is a disaster on the top side for G2.
No flash. Caps.
He walks in a push to get the 1-for-1 at least, or to get 1 kill back rather. Sertuss now gonna be in trouble. Lots of damage coming in. Caps with the fancy feed, but cannot finish the kill.
That's a 2-0 Veigar in the first 3 minutes of the game. 31 stacks. The collapse was faster. Massive props to Markoon. The flash repositioned to dodge the body slam, but also proc the passive. Meant it so they could get Yike down quickly.
Yeah, also just pathing into River to look for the fight there, having the prio out of Sertuss, knowing Relevant was going to teleport back into lane. Yike was actually looking for a little invade himself, you know, back to Winter Split Yike when he's on these fast-clearing junglers. He likes to get inside the enemy jungle. And it was Markoon pathing immediately to try and fight him.
All right, let's watch this flash from Markoon, because this basically decided the fight for SK. You can see he has one more auto attack here. He needs to proc the stun, and as he does, he's going to get flashed on by BrokenBlade. Flashes to the side, mid-auto attack animation, makes sure he can proc the passive to get the damage. Nice flash from Relevant to land onto BrokenBlade. He used the flash earlier on, and Caps thinks here, well, when Sejuani has Q up, I'm gonna probably die here, so I'll just trade back. Smartly so, gets 1 kill off the back of it, but that's 2 kills onto Veigar.
Yeah, I mean, he almost got 2 there, like just the damage coming down because the cooldowns on the Veigar are a little bit large at the moment. Still, Sertuss now absolutely huge, and you saw sort of the power of the Sejuani passive. Yike couldn't actually fight him, had to time it out completely.
I'll just say that the Veigar having 33 stacks at 4 minutes is the beginning of what could very well become a worrying trend, but here comes Yike, the double knock-up. Instantly, the engage comes out. He's just stabbing the ground. He's stabbing dots. He's stabbing everybody, and it's a double for Yike.
Yike is just a beast on this Bel'Veth, man. I feel like I haven't seen it in a while. He's played well this spring split, but on these junglers, these pocket picks of his, he was dominating back in winter. He made a name for himself here in the LEC on picks like this, and instantly after being beaten down in the top river, he's finding a window in bot lane. Remember that fight, that 2 versus 2, where every summoner spell was spent? He's instantly punishing.
Top dive, maybe. Markoon's hovering. BrokenBlade's used the body slam. I don't think they have the damage here. Relevant's out of mana. Are they going to commit for anyway? Look at
Yike's here. Yike's here.
Yike.
This is going to be a disaster. Oh my god.
Goes a little bit wide. Knock him now going in. One kill. He dashes through.
What the hell?
He can't be caged.
He's got him 4 kills in the last minute of gameplay. Double kill. Bots run top. Double kill again.
He's like 2 kills to Veigar. I'll raise it. 4 kills on Yike. Oh my god. The man is unhinged. He is everywhere on the map. G2 now up almost 2,000 gold at the 5.5 minute mark.
What is going on? SK went 3 for 1 in that river. The game was in such a fantastic spot, and now you blink and you miss it.
It's a stack battle between Yike and Sertuss. Sertuss is winning because it's easier to get Veigar stacks, but I don't know for how much longer, because this is a very beefy Bel'Veth.
Top dive. Markoon goes way too early. What's he? He misses the Q point blank as well, so he has no way to get out of tower. Sertuss isn't even there yet, so blunder from him. Irrelevant, no flash. The cage is dashed away from.
Last second dodge out from the cage.
Yeah, great play from Yike. I think the bot setup as well was really, really clean on that double knock. Now SK trying to fight fire with fire. Markoon's down towards his bot side, but Yike's here to match.
Oh, nice dash backwards from Markoon not to get caught up there. That very well could have been his life.
Yeah, small CS lead for the SK bot lane down here on the Aphelios, but See the 1,000 gold lead onto Yike when he bases. He's going to get closer and closer to that Kraken.
It's like whiplash. I think 3 minutes ago, it was
Not my
600.
tempo.
Yeah, definitely not Yike's tempo. 600 gold lead for Markoon after that first play, and now it's a 900 gold lead for Yike.
Jeez. That's the crazy thing, too, is he sort of dropped tempo. You'd expect him, you know, after you lose in the top river, you just go into farming patterns for the next 5 minutes. But no, he's sacking time in his jungle to camp inside a bot river.
Caps no flash.
Hold on.
Can they get
when he goes
here?
to this minion.
Level 6. Going
Surprise.
for it. Nice call out there. Enter 1, 2, 3.
Where's the ult? Where's the ult?
Force to ult now coming out, trying to buy
everywhere.
more time, but to the skies. Caps living for now. The ulti gonna come in. Sertuss gonna get
he got the root.
Exakick. Now locked up. Here comes Yike. They have to be careful here. Red, white guns. A lot of potential response damage. Just gonna be happy with the chunk out.
They had Bale out there as well. Yike. Also, the wave wasn't big enough, so SK respond with a play mid. Caps didn't have the flash up yet. Good fancy feet from Irrelevant to dodge away from the ult. Manages to pick up the kill. Now G2 bot lane going to push this wave in. Should get a lot of plates here. Can even base and get some nice tempo for this Baron. Help their jungler on the Dragon. BrokenBlade will get a plate off the back of that.
Hey, look, I don't care how fed this Bel'Veth gets. If Veigar keeps going the way he's going, he's going to be able to press about 2 buttons, and that Bel'Veth is absolutely going to pop. So I really like to see Markoon and Irrelevant both playing around mid lane. Sacking a little bit on top side. Actually, Irrelevant dropping quite a little bit of CS to make that play actually happen. And we're going to need to see Markoon continue to stay active. That was the biggest thing I was looking at. Compared to Diego back in game 1, where he wasn't quite as much of a factor in the early game. Now on that Sejuani, needs to keep putting himself in spots to fight.
That's not... Wow. That's just a bluff. He just kept hitting Caps like he was not about to get one shot there. Now his mid laner's here.
Bit of dodgeball going on here. Caps just going to get farmed for a couple stacks. 71 on the Veigar. Now Irrelevant's trading aggressively on top. Markoon's here, level 5 though. BrokenBlade has to flash up. Yike's going to cycle through his top camps, get level 6 off of Red, and I think there might be a fight around Herald.
And credit to SK. They're keeping their, their foot on the gas. They're still making plays. They're not letting themselves get distracted by the fact that Yike is individually pretty far ahead. Markoon's starting to recoup some of that deficit, and this is important because this could be their final game. They need to put everything on the table here. Sertuss, 74 stacks now, getting stronger and stronger in this one.
See the power of the Nilah. Look at Mikyx's level 6 now. DOS is just ticking over level 4 to level 5 now, so that massive level XP advantage is giving them the upper hand on this top side. Trying to get Sertuss' flash here, not going to land the root, but Markoon's on the bot side, looking to pressure mid by the looks of it. SK are dropping this Herald, knowing that Yike's up towards that top side, maybe looking for some kind of dive, some kind of play onto Mikyx. Don't think he has the damage by himself, but you can see how safe Mikyx's playing it.
Yeah, he's going to take the long way around. There were options for Yike to path down if he wanted to, but he's actually more happy just to go ahead and take the Herald, knowing that's going to be a big chunk of cash he'll be able to collect in just a little bit, even if it means his bot side jungle, but it might mean Hansama.
Yeah, it's really awkward for SK though, because Markoon gets spotted, they know the dive's coming. Caps and BrokenBlade will have TP ready in case they pull the trigger. So they won't get anything in response, and Bel'Veth with Herald is going to do so much on these side towers. I think they can Herald top and dive here. SK kind of need to force.
Irrelevant has no man either, so clearing away this wave is really tough for him. He's trying to intercept it early.
Bomba takes him back. Irrelevant now trying to find the 1v1, running out to safety. Yike can dash in, can try to finish the kill now. W coming in, the knockup, the reset. Unstoppable now is Yike as he can turn his attention towards the top side of the map. Hansama stepping forward. Just trying to keep Exakick and DOS in their side as Markoon fishes for the ulti, but will not find it. 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4-stack, but that's the shield coming in. That's huge! Senna with the backup. I don't even know if they needed it, but they make it look good, and now Sertuss. Oh, here we go. Thunderdome gonna keep him safe for a second here.
Yike no flash. Sertuss does have his and the ultimate, but he's getting chased down regardless.
Baby cage not enough. That is a full-ass man in the mid lane, or void woman as it turns out. You need a bigger cage for Yike.
Just slap, 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 slap. The Veigar hits the floor. Oh my word, Yike running over SK.
Might just get a full mid tower here. 15 seconds on Sertuss respawn, but look how many spawns from the dying creeps with the Herald onto Bel'Veth. Can put it down, get a full tower with the true damage, but Markoon's here to defend. Markoon, I think he's really frustrated with the game state. His top lane's getting done.
Is he dead? Dash back, stabby stab.
It's a really frustrating game state. They can't dive bot, they can't make a play mid. Irrelevant's falling behind. They might lose a top tower. He has to try something, bless him. So he tries something mid and it backfires.
And Caps didn't have to use the flash. He just turns around with the ult, the support from Mikyx.
It's a horror movie. Yike just does not stop. Should be careful here, though. Exakick can look for the CC, so he's just going to dash back out to safety, courtesy of the true form there.
He still has the Herald as well, so he's just going to recall.
No. It's just alien. Surprise! There's an alien inside your jungle.
Oh my god, he's got Kraken Slayer Merc Treads at 11 minutes into the game.
They're going to pray that one of the people on this team is Sigourney Weaver, or they are in deep, deep trouble. If you don't understand that reference, you're too young. I'm sorry, I can't relate to you. It's going to be hard.
I'll be honest, I made that reference. Never seen Alien.
Damn it. I followed you into the darkness. I thought you had my back.
Nope, absolutely not.
Irrelevant in the back. And just keeping the pressure here on top side. The Jayce has not been able to do anything. I don't think it's Irrelevant's fault, but the map state, as you highlighted, Caedrel, it's difficult for everybody on SK.
SK can't make a play anywhere. They really can't. They're getting pushed in on every lane. They lose 2v2s, they lose 3v3s.
Sertuss.
Okay.
Cap still has flash, but you can see Yike just permanently covering. Still has that Herald as well. He's gonna have to pop it down soon.
Yike is uninterested in his own jungle. He would like Markoon's jungle.
Yeah. Level 7, 1.8k gold up. Another plate over to G2's bot lane. And I think the biggest winner here is Mikyx. See the gold difference between the supports.
Oh, Cap flash in. Gonna try to finish the kill. Gonna try to lock him down. Squeezy's hand. Grounded goes gold, and Markoon needs to come over the wall. Immediately locked in. Can they turn? Can they fire back? Mikyx's ult will take the kill and make it a 1-for-1.
Even then, I mean, Markoon's there for the counter gank, but Mikyx, once again, pops that ultimate to influence mid. 1-for-1, gonna be a fine trade, I think, for G2, considering Markoon was in the area. Yike also gets all the farm here.
Just keeping the true form going as well. Should fade away shortly.
20
Relevant
seconds.
BrokenBlade trading back and forth.
Markoon still wants to go top lane. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he's taking this pathway to get all the way around up top side.
Do they have the damage to kill BrokenBlade? Maybe if he dives, they can kill?
BrokenBlade doesn't have ultimate. He does have flash, and he's really extending now.
BrokenBlade taking a lot of damage, suddenly realizing he's in trouble. He's going to try to get out of the wall, but there's Doss. The handshake not going to connect. He is uninterested. Hillbilly Gragas on the way out. Oh, man. He's just refusing.
The reversal.
Oh, where is he going?
I think they spotted him on
His
vision.
ult's up in like 10 seconds.
Run, baby, run! Hillbilly Gragas will
Down
get taken out.
Smited as well. What does G2 get for this? Herald mid, bot tower is going to fall. It's just every play Markoon can go for on this map state is just such a losing play. He's trying his best.
Yeah, I mean, it's also 10 plates to 2 right now in favor of G2, if I did my math quickly. Also, the second Drake going to be there. There's almost certainly no way SK can realistically contest for that one. So, best case scenario, Irrelevant gets some plates on the top side. They can keep farming up. It actually looks like they want Exakick now to be picking up minions in mid lane. That's a little stronger wave clear, I suppose. And
I mean, this is the struggle, is your strongest point on the map is Sertuss, and he's even. He is even with his opponent. Everything else wildly far behind. Only 100 difference on the top side, not too bad, but 1.7 in the jungle, 2.1 in the support, partially just due to support itemization, but Relevant executed.
See a massive chunk of XP over to Caps, though. You really want to make sure, even though they get executed, you're in range for experience. And Caps does just that. SK need to slow this game down a hell of a lot. I mean, they have Veigar, Aphelios, Renata. They need to just try and wave clear, but the problem is G2 are going to keep forcing and stacking Drakes, and they're going to keep forcing down these tier 1s.
that's the difference. Last game, it was SK that had the early Drake, so even though, yeah, they had some scaling elements, like, they were chilling. You know, they could afford to give some over to G2. This time, definitely not the case. 4 minutes away on that next one, but I mean, in terms of like items coming through at that point, yeah, maybe like lethality will be completed for Irrelevant, but in the meantime, it's just gonna be Yike running into your jungler. Markoon's never gonna be able to farm again.
Good news is he's not that far behind in experience, so they can try to force fights. The bad news is Herald is spawning in 40 seconds, and what will happen is Bel'Veth with second Herald when she's ahead is a nightmare. So if they can weather that storm and maybe lose one tier 2, they can hold on till Soul Point and try and take a fight on 2 or 3 items. Unless they make a mistake and get sucked into this chaos that G2 want to ensue, the game might blow completely wide open to inhibitor levels if they do around that second Herald.
Tier 1 taken down only means that the control over the jungle in favor of G2. SK's jungle just goes more and more in their favor. SK now trying to force the play, the flash in, but Caps buffers, the ultimate gets out in time. The chain CC should be enough to take down the Cassio.
Everyone's on the way, though.
For his life. The shield now coming in, but that's Caps down. Yike off to the side, tower still standing. SK, a small positive play as the knockup whiffs. Hansama looking to get it started off, though. Only manages to grab Markoon with the ultimate there. They're now on the retreat. Berserk coming through. Hansama not quite going to walk into the cage.
Ooh, the first time I've thought of this interaction, but the Berserk can maybe cause players on G2 to actually sprint into the wall of the Veigar cage if they can't find a target. So spreading out may be even problematic for G2 in these later fights.
And while they found the kill, it looks like G2 are still going to be able to find the second Herald. You highlighted it already, Caedrel, but this can be hugely problematic. The true form from Bel'Veth basically permanently unlocked, it feels like, but this form obviously even stronger.
And this is SK with Spring on the line for them. Lower bracket now. I think Winter, they had a bit of a breakout. Were able to surprise a lot of people. Even in the BO1s here in Spring, had many good moments, but now G2, the last game it was slow, they end up winning out at the end. This time, from the get-go, it's just been G2 dominance, and Yike running them over.
It's SK's only real window they found is through mid, is through Sertuss onto Caps. They have the chain CC layer, no tenacity on this Cassio, you have to imagine, other than the runes obviously can't build towards Merktread, so locking her down is what you need to do, but she's going to get tankier and tankier with that Rod of Ages. SK now grouping up again towards his top side. They know G2 want to crack open top tier 1. That's the last of the outer tower, so they're defending it with their lives, and that's buying them time, which is important. But now, Yike coming out of base with this Herald, I wonder where it's going to be placed. If they can get a pick onto Irrelevant with a Herald on bot, they could be looking at an inhibitor. And SK are setting up, patiently waiting. Maybe G2 overextend. They know they can't beat them in a straight-up 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, but if they can isolate Caps, that'll buy them more time.
But I do think we also have to appreciate what the series means for G2. It is an elimination series, and even if they have the luxury of knowing that MSI is secured, remember that at the start of the season, they were the team to beat. And even in a kind of questionable regular season, they were the team to beat. It was only after they lost the best of 3 to Koi that people even started to cast a glimmer of doubt onto this team. Starting to wonder, maybe it's Vitality, maybe it's BDS, but G2 making a statement here against SK, showing us not only can they draft the crazy, they play even on some of the standard compositions as well. Definitely a force to be reckoned with if they are able to go deeper.
Yeah, and if Yike spent the majority of spring just playing all these, ganks, so many games on the Vi, just showing a more present, gank focus, less tempo in the jungle style, then going back to the Bel'Veth here and absolutely dominating on it. It reminds you again what a dual-bladed threat he can be coming into the postseason. Multiple different styles they can play. G2 can still get those big flexes down on you.
No. This is Herald going. You can see BrokenBlade trying to chunk out Irrelevant so that Yike can come down here and place it. They're really looking on tier 2s on side lanes right now. You saw G2 up towards top. They tried to find Sertuss if they could get a pick and force. That's the idea. Now they're looking bot. So SK are actually cross-mapping. They're not defending this Herald play.
Let's try to gain Caps again, guys.
But I mean, maybe they feel like it's their only option. It's so hard to match.
I mean, it kind of is, right? But the problem is, as we've seen before, the disengage of the ultimate is so huge. He can turn with the damage he has, and you have Mikyx's ultimate always going to be there as an option to support.
Drake's up in 20. That'll be G2's sole point. SK just really frustrating game, isn't it? Just slowed down, but G2 are keeping up the pace. They're waiting for break points. Void Staff maybe looking forwards an Infinity Edge on the Aphelios, and then maybe they can try and take an even fight. Needs to be pixel perfect though in locking down the Bel'Veth.
I think it's so hard too because the Nilah is also not someone that you can underestimate in a fight. If you burn everything on the Bel'Veth, you might just kill her, but the damage reduction on E is massive. You have to layer the CC, so even if you can put that together perfectly to take Bel'Veth out of the equation, you've got 2 more 80 carries on the side of G2, and yes, neither
TP.
one is quite as scary.
Double TP.
But now we see Sertuss getting collapsed on here. Can just throw down the cage, but BrokenBlade and Caps might not mind too much. SK looking. Need to get Sertuss out of here. They can't really retreat into their own territory. DOS playing with fire just to walk into his own jungle.
It pushes them so far away from bot lane, and Yike just looking for a 1v1.
There's nowhere for him to go. Knock back, but he's under his own tower. Yike going godlike as he finds the solo.
I mean, Yike continues to crush them, and while the rest of G2 force SK out of their jungle, what's open? Mid lane, Dragon, bot lane, they're collecting on both of these lanes, these inner turrets as well. Yike could keep running down to bot lane after he clears that one away if he wants to continue to threaten Inhibitor Tower. We're only 19 minutes in, but they're going.
Locked down, a lot of follow-up damage coming in. The shield is pretty solid. The Berserk now coming out. Caps still CC. Caps will finally drop. SK holding on to mid lane for now, but it's Yike on the bottom side. Yike, the hidden threat again.
Yeah. Nice pick though. 4 ultimates used for the kill. Caps didn't even have to flash though, but it's still a numbers advantage.
Going in. All the cooldowns are gone, and that means it is time to feast on the hopes of SK, Yike, Mickey, everybody not afraid on the side of G2 to dive under this tower, but Irrelevant now coming in. Exakick now trying to turn and burn. Trying to find his opportunity. Irrelevant wants to finish off Mickey. Yike now looking for the knockup, but he can't quite find it. Exakick free firing with the flamethrower into the backside. He is Sigourney Weaver. He's here to kill aliens. He'll find the double. He's looking for the triple onto Yike. Yike maybe desperate to turn this back. One more dash. Relevant now following up. They need this shutdown. They need to kill Yike. EQ, where will it go? Yike with the sidestep to survive the knockup. Backstep from Irrelevant. Irrelevant still stepping forward. He can swap to cannon form in just a second. Cannot finish the job, but hope blooms for a brief moment for SK.
Oh, Exakick comes online right there. It's Irrelevant on the respawn, and Exakick starts picking up kills. If there's anyone to cut down G2 coming after them, it's Exakick now with the Infinity Edge finished off. SK are sprinting to get back onto the map. I was thinking maybe they want to contest around this Drake, but Exa just still wants the minions up on the top side. If he can get big, that's a condition for them to try and come away with.
Push too far back, they can get kills, but they can't get objectives. That'll buy some time, but G2 should be able to pick up that Dragon, and they're going to start threatening this Nash. The Nash is going to go down so quickly, so they need to get vision up towards this top side as soon as possible. Once they see Yike and Caps killing this Dragon on bot wave, that'll allow them to move into this top side jungle. They've weathered a bit of a storm, but they're not out of the trenches yet. Good kills though onto Exakick. Best thing about this is he still has his summoner spells to work with.
Gets the IE as well. Getting stronger and stronger. We know how powerful Aphelios can be. There's a reason it's so popular internationally. Mickey's getting more and more range. It's going to make it hard to play these fights, but if they can set up the cage, if they can get the perfect opportunity, maybe they can get something done.
See here, Markoon, nice Q there. BrokenBlade actually eating away, didn't decide to block the ultimate for Caps. He would have died most likely with the chain CC, but he walked into the Veigar cage there. Yeah. So now G2, even though they lost Caps, they thought, you know what, we'll still take this 4v4. I think we're confident enough. BrokenBlade actually E-flashing in, and I thought here the game was basically over. It looked like it, right? You could see Sertuss instantly dead. Hansama's on the backline. The ult actually gets pushed back by the handshake of Dosso, then flashes the knock-up from Yike. Yike then goes too deep to try and get Markoon, and Mikyx has to flash to get that kill. So they've used so much gap close to get onto SK that they're stuck. Exakick has blue gun, and he manages to melt through them.
Oh yeah, clean play. Gale forcing back into the front here. Blue plus red.
Q down over the wall, just for a bit of extra damage, extra movement speed coming in. The onslaught from the Severum, and that's very close to death there. If Bel'Veth gets a kill there, maybe that fight turns in favor of G2, but well played now as G2 take control of the mid lane. 5-man group up for SK. They are a death ball at this stage of the game. If they split it all, they'll get picked apart.
Yeah, they just want to move straight back into the Baron. The tough thing is they have to be a little bit careful when they go to the Baron because it puts them tight up close.
Yeah.
Potential for the cage to come down and be hugely valuable in the river.
So quick though, SK have to get here quickly. Markoon's in the vicinity. They don't have Sejuani, but they have to stop this.
The Cassio, they eat this thing alive. Markoon stepping forward, taking a bit of poke. Shock blast off to the side.
Playing to finish here, G2.
Down. Execute.
It's a flip.
Guns for a fight. They might just try to flip it. Yike now trying to finish the job. They're going to get the Baron. SK can they take the fight after. Perfect guns now for Execute. He swaps off the Gravitum. Yike off onto the flank. Has to be watched. They have to engage on the 4-man core of G2. But Caps with a clean ultimate onto Mikyx. Maybe it's enough to start the fight off in favor of G2. Execute on the backside. Cannot get it done. Yike will not be stopped. He finds the flank. Execute. No hope left. G2 take the Baron. They take the fight and they're looking to end the game.
Just a crushing performance from G2 through and through. TPing down to the bot side. They're going to take everything off of this play. Not comfortable just taking the Baron there. No. They look for an opportunity to turn it straight back around into the face of SK and then crush them.
That was SK's last stand. Their last stand here in Spring, and it failed. 5-0 to G2. Beautifully executed by them. Caps' ult was fantastic. BrokenBlade with the knockback to secure the Baron. They won't lose the game here, SK. But they're as good as done. I mean, G2 could try and stay here. They have so much Remora, so many minions. Maybe they just siege through and just look for the end.
Overwhelming force. Irrelevant just doesn't do enough damage to stop this siege. The baby cage comes out, but it will hit onto nobody. One tower down, a second to follow. G2 can just walk it in. Yike leaping in, a bit of damage. They're all grounded on the backside. Lambs to the slaughter. Their season will end at the hand of G2.
23-minute game. Yike, the second he got those double kills on side lane, just ran away with it, didn't he? Execution around the Nash was pixel perfect, maybe a little bit of an overextension. Something to look at on the bot side of the map when they went a bit too deep, but other than that, I think the game was basically in their hands from the get-go other than the first early skirmish.
Yeah, after that, just no matter what they did, they just kept trying to focus down Caps. Every time, the best they got was a 1-for-1, right? With Mikyx helping out those ultimates from bot lane, from spawn. Caps turning it around and fighting his way through. It was good defensive play from him wherever they were coming to hit him. And it was Yike carrying on every other aspect of the match.
That man on your screen, walking away now, was absolutely everywhere. Every time SK thought they had a dive, there was a big tentacle knocking them up, finding a quick double. Such a frustrating game for SK.
You always got to be looking out for the worms coming after you in the tough situation. I mean, what else do you call Bel'Veth? It's like it's a worm with little tentacle things coming to mess up your day.
It's a space.
It's a mantor. That's right.
Whatever it is, it was very successful. She was very. I don't know, man. It's hard to keep track.
Unclear.
Void creature, very successful. We learned.
Yike, very successful.
Very successful.
And like, just give me a little bit more of that Bel'Veth, you know? Give me more of those carry champs. I missed it a little bit, gotten teased here and there, but
I agree.
For the most part, it's been meta for Yike, and I feel like that's boring. You know, Yike, keep busting it out. Need to have a stern talking with Dylan Falco on that front.
I feel like they're taking turns. BB got to cook last week. Yike in the bot lane got to cook this week, and
I mean, Hans also got to do a little cooking.
Yeah, some of the recipes taste a little better than others. Vote for your player of the series on @LEC on Twitter, though. BrokenBlade, Yike, Mikyx.
Yeah, don't forget about the Kennen performance in Game 1. Everyone's going to remember the Bel'Veth
performance was also good,
yeah,
I think, to say. Yeah. But when you 2-0,
quick games as well.
You're going to look good. You're going to look
dominant there, G2.
Someone's making really uncomfortable eye contact with me, and I'm feeling peer pressured. So I'm going to say vote for BrokenBlade. No particular reason. But there's a very ruthless.
I mean, his Kennen was enough of a reason.
That's true.
You don't have to just shill.
Almost a 5K.
You can be
individual goal.
I need your energy every day, Ender, when you hear for these champions. The Kennen, the Bel'Veth, he's feeling it all.
All my favorite champions. Look, if it's from the Void or purple in any way, freaking love it.
Maybe BrokenBlade feels the same way. We're not going to find out about that in this interview, but we'll find out about something. Let's send it over to Yinsu and BrokenBlade.
Thank you very much, guys. We might find about that. We'll see. We'll see. That's right. I'm joined by BrokenBlade here. First of all, congratulations. Much better this week, right?
Yeah, much better, of course, right? I think last week we forget about that. Very happy with the games today.
Yeah, particularly you individually as well. We saw the Kennen come out. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I think first game was really good. So I felt very comfortable playing it, and I think they didn't have a good answer. That's why they banned it in the second game. Second game, though, I could have played it a little bit better. But we always look to improve, right? I think still very happy about the game. Yike played very, very good to Bel'Veth, which they also banned in the first game. So I'm very happy. Yeah, just happy.
I'm happy as well to see you happy. I think there was a lot of maybe criticism and questions about the Pantheon last week. Didn't see it this time. I did speak to your coach earlier about what he thought, but what did you think of it? Are we going to see that ever again?
The Pantheon was kind of like, how do you call it? Like just out of the blue, you know? Like we're like, okay, let's just play it. And it worked in the first game. In the second game, it really, really backfired. So it looked really bad in the second game. It looked really good in the first game. And then we're like, okay, maybe we should just stick to what we're good at. And we did, right, today. And it showed. Like, we had much, much cleaner games. Even though the second game, we had a little bit of too much fun. I think, yeah, I mean, it was just like, it wasn't really practiced. So it was like, okay, let's just go for it, you know. And when everyone's like really hyped to go for something, and it works the first time, like, okay, let's just go do another run, second game. But then they, you know, like answered very, very well. Koi played better than us as well in that series, so they just won. But next time, they will lose.
Oh, how confident are you now? Because obviously, they're going to be feeling confident as well because they just beat you.
Yeah, I mean, we're confident, I would say. I mean, we're G2, right? We're always confident. We always play with confidence. And I want to take revenge on them. So does our team. So it's going to be a feast.
Oh, what I will say, though, you know, when you tell me the Pantheon, it was kind of just something that you came up with. It sounded a little bit last minute. Is that the case? Because your champion pool is massive. So I don't expect anything that they're going to throw at you and you're going to feel like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. But how much realistic preparation do you have?
I mean, obviously, we always pick something to win, right? So I thought in that moment, okay, let's go for Pantheon against Jayce. Because I thought it was going to make us win, right? In the first game, it did. We had really, really good players, as I said. In the second game, though, it didn't. And I think Shugenda is playing pretty well on the Jayce, you know, and it showed. So for tomorrow, let's see who will, you know, beat each other, you know.
It does sound like you think it's going to be you, though.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so too, yeah.
You know the answer already. And lastly, your jungler also had a great game today as well. He's actually with the desk in PGL right now, so I think he can hear you. Anything you wanna say to him?
Well, obviously, great game by Yike, but don't get cocky. You know, it's Bel'Veth, your best champ. So stay humble.
Oh, okay. That's some firm words you have there. Firm words. Thank you so much, BrokenBlade.
Well played to him. Well played to him. Good series.
Anything else?
No. Cheers.
Okay, cool. That's it. Thank you very much, BrokenBlade. And I'm going to toss this over to Law to close everything out with PGL.